Hi guys, in case you don't know me, my name is Nick. I am one of the main creators of the Red List along with Nathan Fan, Nathan Chin, and Issa Saba. This is kind of a different video that we're going to be giving you guys. Usually we'd want to be doing something with a big group, but I asked them if I could do a review of a certain movie that I watched recently. I want to give you guys my thoughts on it because I'm a big movie person and I think that it would give a lot of good diversity in the video feed. So hopefully I won't bore you guys to tears. And yeah, let's get it started. Star Wars: The Force Awakens. This movie is the seventh film in the Star Wars franchise. This takes place 30 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. The basic synopsis of this plot is that we are following a girl named Rey, who is played by Daisy Ridley, who is a scavenger on the planet of Jakku. She runs into this new droid called BB-8 who is carrying some very important information for the Resistance. The Resistance being this new form of the rebellion that was in the original trilogy. She also runs into John Boyega's character, Finn, who is a First Order stormtrooper, the First Order being the new version of the Empire from the original trilogy. Finn is a runaway stormtrooper who wants to get away from the war, who wants nothing to do with the First Order anymore, and he wants to start a new life. And together, they go on some adventures. They run into old characters such as Han Solo and Chewbacca. They run into new characters such as Poe Dameron, and also they encounter a new bad guy named Kylo Ren. But that's basically the overall plot and what you need to know going into the movie. There was definitely a lot of excitement and anticipation for this movie, none like any other before. I admittedly was very, very, very excited for this. And does this movie live up to that hype? It definitely does live up to everything that was set up for it. Star Wars: The Force Awakens is absolutely great. One of the biggest standout things about this movie is the characters. The characters in this movie are very well set up. Daisy Ridley as Rey steals the show. She is a phenomenal character. She is a phenomenal actress. She you're able to get behind her story. You're able to believe that she is someone who wants to break out of that world that she has been confined to her entire life. John Boyega as Finn is also so charismatic, so energetic. He brings in so much heart to this movie. Every single character in this movie brings something different, including Poe Dameron, who I forgot to mention is a Resistance pilot. His chemistry with Finn is awesome. They work together so well. Rey's chemistry with Finn has also worked very well. Adam Driver as Kylo Ren, as the villain, he is very, very layered. He isn't a bad guy just for the sake of being a bad guy. He does things because he feels like it's what he has to do. There are also returning characters as well as some new as well as the new characters who get themselves involved in this adventure. Harrison Ford, man, as Han Solo, it was so great seeing him back on screen playing that character, along with his interactions with Chewbacca, man, and also his interactions with Leia. The movie does a great job at showing that these characters have gone through things since Return of the Jedi, and it shows that there has been a history since then. And also, these characters don't just show up for fan service. These characters do get involved in the action. They get involved in the story, and that is something that J.J. Abrams did a fantastic job. Who is the director of The Force Awakens? He did a fantastic job at being able to balance the old along with injecting some new life into it. The action scenes in this movie are also very well done. It's very well shot. You can actually tell what's going on. The cinematography in this movie is absolutely gorgeous. There's some great shots in there. The pacing of this film, which adds to the actions, if you want to go to the bathroom, you really can't because you'll feel like you'll miss out on something. Something that I really wasn't expecting that worked really well was the humor in this movie. The humor in The Force Awakens works very, very well. There are great comedic moments in this with the characters. It just sort of adds to what the characters feel and to think during these moments in danger, and they're still able to crack a few jokes. Something that was riding very high in this movie was, during the pre-production, was the use of practical effects over CGI. There is still definitely CGI in this movie. In some cases, it does stick out. Like, you notice that, oh, this character is CGI. Because there is so much practicality that it sort of sticks out like a sore thumb. But the special effects are still done very, very well. It's really great to see J.J. Abrams go back to shooting on location, using prosthetics, creating costumes, using practical effects to add to the realness of the movie. Which is kind of weird to say because it's a fantasy sci-fi movie, and I'm saying it feels kind of real. The reason it feels real, again, is because of the characters and because of the practicality and locations of the film. This film is gorgeous. The characters are so well done, and I wish I could go more in depth with it, but if I were to, it would get into spoiler-ish territories, and I don't want to get into that because I want people to go to the movies and go watch Star Wars for what it is, rather than just me telling you the details and watching you play out. Even though, I mean, if that's what you want, then that's fine. Still, I'd rather have people go into the movie not knowing as much as possible, while also being able to give my thoughts on it, and also still being able to enjoy the movie. Let me say firsthand that this movie was very difficult to watch and not just be like, oh my god, that's awesome, because I was honestly watching this movie like a hawk. This movie is not perfect. I wasn't expecting a perfect film. People who know me probably would think that I was expecting that. I wasn't expecting a perfect movie. I didn't get a perfect movie. I just wanted it to be good, and it was really, really good. And that satisfies me anyways. It does follow a lot of the same beats as the original Star Wars movie that came out in 1977. If you've watched Star Wars before, you'll notice that there are a few aspects of A New Hope that are injected into The Force Awakens, which may bother people, but it didn't really bother me. It's something that I've noticed that was like, that to me was like, oh, that's kind of like the original Star Wars. I can think of another movie that sort of copied its original predecessor, and that was Creed, that came out back in November. It followed a lot of the same beats as the original Rocky, and that movie was still very, very great. And much like The Force Awakens, this movie follows the same beats as the original, but it doesn't hinder it at all. There are definitely some underwhelming characters that you would think that would be shown more, but they don't really flesh them out. But I guess that's what the sequels are for. There are 2 other movies coming out. I mean, if anyone was expecting this to be just a one-off, then I'm not going to talk about what happens in the ending, but I will say that the ending leaves a lot of questions that have been left unanswered. That may be an issue for some people. I remember hearing someone complain about the ending after my second showing of the movie, and it obviously bothers people to have some sort of open-ended ending, some open to interpretation ending. That's what I like about this ending, is because it's the first of a new trilogy. It gets people talking about where the characters of Rey, Finn, Poe Dameron, Chewbacca, Princess Leia, all the other original characters, Kylo Ren, where they're going to go in the next movie, how they're going to progress, how the story is going to be different, how it's going to be told in the next movie, how these characters are going to advance. And that's what the ending to the first movie of a trilogy should do. It should leave people wondering what's going to happen next. If you leave the theater feeling fulfilled without the need to go watch episode 8 or episode 9, then episode 7 didn't really do its job to get people more intrigued in these characters and wonder about what's going to happen. And honestly, it really does that. You really buy into these characters. I could talk about these characters for days. These characters are great. They're very well fleshed out. This movie is extremely fun. You will buy into these characters. You will notice the tributes to the old. I do know a lot of people who somehow have not watched a single Star Wars movie, or they just completely missed out on it as a kid. But if someone who hasn't seen any Star Wars movie were to ask me if they would enjoy The Force Awakens, I would say yes. You don't need to know much about the previous trilogies of movies to understand what's going on in The Force Awakens. This movie does a great job at being able to connect with the past while also being able to show what you're in for the future. As much as I love this movie, this isn't perfect. Most of the movies that I really like are not perfect. I could probably point out a few more flaws that I didn't mention, very minor things, but it shouldn't hinder your experience at all. God, you guys are probably expecting a rating. What do I rate this movie? A rating. I would give it 4.5 stars out of 5. If you want to get yourself involved in the Star Wars universe, this is a great way to start off. That's it. It's a good movie. Go watch it, guys. So guys, this is my first movie review. I'm glad that Star Wars The Force Awakens is the first thing that I've ever reviewed on YouTube. I understand that there are issues about this review that need to be worked on. I'm definitely open to any sort of feedback. Just to let me know what I can improve upon. If there's something that I did good, something that I did bad, give your review of my review down below. This is my first time. Hopefully I'll be able to do more if you guys like these. Don't hold back on your criticisms, but also, this is my first time, so trust me, better things will come. Really starting off on a high note, reviewing Star Wars, and it's just everything I review possibly is just going to go downhill from there. Thank you guys again for supporting the Red List. Thank you so much for watching this video, and hopefully this video helped to determine whether or not you'd go watch the movie. I recommend this. Again, 4.5 stars. Good movie. Go watch it. Thank you again. Bye, guys.